Hey folks, this is Matt once again, and welcome to another Bigfoot review. And yeah, so far a lot of these Bigfoot films I've been reviewing have been pretty much bust, at least for me. Uh, the only two I can say I've liked so far is Abominable and Harry and the Hendersons. And Abominable I reviewed a long time ago, and I'll probably review that again in this little series. And Harry and the Hendersons, I saw that when I was a kid, and I'll probably review that too. Those will probably be the last two reviews, because I know I like those two, and those the only two Bigfoot films I can think of that I like. So I'll save those for last. Save the best for last. But I can add a third one to the list because this one, Creature from Black Lake, I liked. I'll actually admit, I actually liked this one. Granted, it's not tremendous amount to it. It's not like an action-packed film or a scary film or anything like that. It's not tons of action. It's definitely not a blood, gore, tits film. It's a film from 1976. It's a 3.6 out of 10 IMDb, which I think that's a little too low. But I like this film. I do say I like this film more than Legend of Body Creek or Legend of Bigfoot or any of those films. First off, let me give a little bit of credit. I thought these guys did a decent job. Directing wise, Joy N. Hook Jr., who passed away in 2003. That's too bad. He was an actor, did little teeny roles, directed Night of Bloody Horror in 1969, Women in Bloody Terror in 1970, The Night of the Strange One in 1972, The Brain Machine in 1977. Really don't know much about those other films. He was a producer on Body Tree 2, The Legend Continues. And then the writer was Jim McCullough Jr., who he would go on to write and produce a film called The Aurora Encounter, which I think I've heard of. This is the same guy who wrote Mountaintop Motel Massacre, weirdly enough. Oh, he's that guy. Okay, he's an actor in this. Orville. Okay, he's that guy. Okay. I know who that guy is in the movie. Basically, it's about, and there's a creature in the Louisiana swamps. There's these two guys on a fishing. One of them is this guy with a beard. This actor played by Jack Elam or Elam. Not sure how you pronounce him. I think some people have seen this guy before. He was in the Cannonball Run films. He was the guy with the beard and he has like these crazy eyes who pretend to be a doctor for like Dom DeLuise and Burt Reynolds. Like, which one was it where they pretend to be an ambulance? Was it the first one? Uh, he's the guy. He's the older guy with the beard who pretends to be the doctor. He was also in Suburban Commando. He was like some guy who dressed in military and he had like this Jeep in his yard or something and he like talked to Hulk Hogan or something. But this guy's, if you, I don't know, maybe you guys won't recognize him, but it's, oh, I recognize that guy. So him and his buddy are out fishing. His buddy gets pulled into the water, and as this is going on, this teacher is giving this lecture, and these two guys, they hear about this story, and they decide to go to Louisiana to find out some info about this creature who took and probably killed this one guy, and the other guy, Jack Elam, no one believes the story, so they want to find this guy and talk to him. And I think the most part, I thought it was decently shot, but kind of makes sense because the DP, the guy who did the cinematography, the DP was Dean Cundy. If that name sounds familiar, this is a guy who was the DP, works with the camera and stuff for John Carpenter films, a lot of John Carpenter films and Robert Zemeckis films, and this is a big DP. I think he even did like Roadhouse and Dean Cundy. So it's not like a expertly shot. I mean, he did better with John Carpenter stuff, but I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. Dean Cundy worked on that. But mostly for the two leads. I like the two lead guys. I think that's what helped me with this film, is I like the two leads. Is these two leads, the characters' names are Reeves and Pahu. Reeves is a guy, the actor's name is John David Carson. He's sort of the guy who's leading the charge, and Unfortunately, this guy passed away too. Damn, in 2009. Oh, his father was Kit Carson. Okay, that was his father. And this guy was in Empire of the Ants. He had a tiny role in Pretty Woman. Done some TV stuff. And also, you have another actor who plays his buddy. His name is Dennis Fimple. And this guy, most people maybe remember him from. He had small roles in the 70s King Kong film and Maverick, but he played the grandpa character in House of a Thousand Corpses. Like, if you watch the trailer, he's the one that goes, "It's showtime!" He has, like, some stuff in his mouth. The guy who played the grandpa in House of a Thousand Corpses, he's one of the leads in this. And, like, the guy he plays, he's always talking about hamburgers and Coke and fries. And his other buddy, Reeves, I just call him by the character's names, Reeves and Pau. Reeves, the lead guys, ask him, "Why do you always talk about hamburgers?" And uh, Pahu, the guy from House of Thousand Corpses, he's like, "Well, my father was the king of chicken and breakfast, lunch, and dinner, just chicken, chicken, chicken. But when my mom tried to make chicken jello, that's when I was finished with it." I thought these two did a good job. I thought they were very likable. I thought they played off each other well. Like they're driving, and one guy goes, "Gas, gas," and the guy goes, "Oh, thanks for warning me." He's like, "No, no, I'm in the van. We need gas." Um, I thought they had a good back and forth to it. Another fun moment is one's telling a story, and the other guy gets a little freaked out, goes to take a piss. Uh, he thinks something's behind him. He turns around, and it's a guy there who wants a cup of coffee, and so that guy, Pahu, leads the guy back and tells Reeves, "Oh, this guy wants some coffee. By the way, I'm going to go change my pants. I'm changing my pants." So this is a throwaway line. I thought it was pretty funny. Um, or Reeves, like the guy, Paru is sleeping. Paru, the guy, again, Paru is the guy from House of a Thousand Corpses. Reeves comes up and scares the shit out of him. He's like, "Oh." I thought they had a good back and forth, and I'm not saying they're Oscar caliber. I'm not saying that, but I like them. Maybe you won't, but I like these two guys. I think that's really why I didn't mind this film. I like these two guys. I gave a shit if these two guys lived or died, and that can be rare, especially nowadays. And again, I like these two actors. The lead guy, John David Carson, and then the other guy, Dennis Fimple, the guy who's always talking about hamburgers, fries, and Coke. But I like these two guys. I thought they did a good job. I can't stress that enough. I really like them. Uh, they're talking to folks, trying to find out what's going on. Sheriffs come by and tells them to stop. They go in this diner and they're trying to find some info. They talk. Some guy comes up to them, rides in a van. This guy tells a story about when he was a kid, and it flashbacks a little to when he was a kid. With probably the worst fucking mom ever, because the van stops by. Some of the family are fixing the van. The mom and grandma are sitting there, and the kid just walks away into the woods, and the mom's not even paying attention. So she sucks at parenting in that aspect. And then she's finally like, "Oh, he's gone. Hey, where are you?" And then there's Bigfoot, and I thought they did the right decision here where they didn't show Bigfoot's face, because I've seen some of the stuff I've seen. It's really rare that they have a good looking Bigfoot unless Harry and the Hendersons, which is a family film. But they kind of show him in silhouette and little glimpses. And this mom is like this really far away from the kid, and she doesn't come up and get her kid. No, she just stand there and she's walking back away from her kid. I'm like, "What are you doing, bitch? What are you doing?" But then finally a guy comes up and grabs the kid and goes up there. And then they're driving, they smash, and then the guy tells about that his parents died in that crash, and he was raised by his grandpa and grandma, and they go to the place, and the grandpa doesn't want anything to do with it. But then I thought it was funny, the Pahu guy slickly goes, "Well, I guess, we'll have to worry about that reward." And Reeves is like, "What reward?" That $25 reward we're giving to someone when they give us some information. And then the grandpa guy is like, "Oh, yes, come on." Free money and shit. Uh, Old man tells a story again, and tells a story, just a little quick story about how his dogs were barking, and I like the way it was done. It kind of reminds me of the '50s, the theme from Another World, where you don't see the creature too much, but you get the idea that it's throwing dogs, kind of like the '50s theme from Another World when the thing's like throwing dogs, and here you see a black silhouette of the Bigfoot just throwing dogs pretty viciously. But yeah, it's not gory or anything violent film at all, really, in my opinion. But then something happens, they kind of screwed up, scared the grandma, so the grandpa wants them to leave. And the grandson says, well, you guys can stay in the barn. And then they do, and they hear these roars, and they're able to get it on tape recorder. And again, I like these two characters. I like a little bit of fun they have. They meet these two girls at a diner, and they're playing the tape, and they accidentally scare the waitress, and the waitress gets pissed at them, and they're just throwing food at them. And Power's like, well, wait a minute, we didn't get our food. One leads another. Those two girls meet up with them again. They go camping, uh, but then they get an idea that Bigfoot's out there and they're ready to shoot. And then the sheriff comes, arrests them, puts them in jail, and also at the same time, the old guy, his character's name is Joe Canton, the old guy with the beard. Bigfoot's outside and he's shooting at it and he gets arrested. Like he goes in to get help, but they think he's drunk and they put him in jail. Then in the next morning, the sheriff releases all three, and the two ask him questions. Oh yeah, you're the guy we're looking for. Where you going? Not where you're going, but what happened? And he tells a little bit of what happened. And then the two decide to push it and go camping. And that's when pretty much shit hits the fan, where the Pahu guy gets attacked, the lead guy is in the van, and the Bigfoot's like fucking with the van, tips the fucking van over. Before it's crashing through the windshield trying to grab the lead guy, and the lead guy's like stabbing it with a knife. He gets a gun and wounds it, and he runs, and he's scared. He's scared, and he thinks it's coming, and he stabs, and he actually accidentally stabs his friend. Which finally they get to a hospital. I like the bit at the end with the hospital where the sheriff, he apologizes for how he acted. He's like, you know what, I was wrong about you guys. So I like that little bit of business. And then the old guy with the beard says, you think he stinks it here? I think he stinks it here. It's like, he walked away. He's like, I'm going to get that creature and I'll make a rug out of him. So I like that little bit of business. And I like the ending in a way, but in a way, I will say the ending feels a little bit anticlimactic. Like the way I would have ended is those two going back and killing the creature once and for all. That would be my take on it. But I like these two characters. I like the bit where the guy's like apologizing and he's saying sorry, and I thought he did a decent enough job. I mean, not Ask caliber, it's not like James Franco in 127 hours or anything, but I thought he did a decent enough job. And the guy says, "Well, I'm not mad at you. I'm mad that we got to start the scene over again." And then the lead guy's like, "You gotta be kidding me, right?" He's like, "Hey, it's out there. We got a story to tell." And they do like this, and it freeze frames and ends. So we don't find it, right, partner? So I like that bit of business. Granted, you're kind of thinking, well, didn't you not learn your lesson? But this is handled a lot better than like Prometheus, where the girl learned nothing. And here I thought it was handled better, to be honest. I thought it was handled better. Maybe because I like the two leads more. But I mean, it's not an action film at all. Bigfoot sporadically is in there, but it's not like he's doing lots of damage or anything like that. Uh, the ending, it kind of feels like it. I think it could have gone longer and actually killing the creature, like they kill the creature and then have the nice ending at the end. I would have gone with that route where he killed the creature and then at least he wounded it at least. But I would have done a little bit more with the ending. But it might not be your cup of tea. But after seeing a lot of the films I've seen, like Assault of the Sasquatch and Legend of Bigfoot, and I saw a film called Bigfoot 1970 and Yeti. This I liked. At the end of the day, I like the two characters. I like the two leads. I thought the two actors did a good enough job. I thought it went at a fast enough pace that I wasn't too bored. It's not tons of action. It's not tons of Bigfoot. But here, I could deal with it. and I like some of the interaction between the two leads. And overall, I like the it still has that grainy look of the 70s, which I'm fine with. Some decent little bit with Dean Cundey, not like he would do in John Carpenter and all that stuff, but either way, I like Creature from Black Light. I can say I like this one. That's me though. But anyway, thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll see you later.